Wow, this cake tastes like heaven. I reached out to grab another piece when I heard a growl behind me. I told you to be graceful, didn't I? Then, Mom pulled me over to greet this smartly dressed couple. Ugh, again. They looked me up and down, then said, I heard that you're a gifted pianist. We would love to hear you play. Huh? Piano? I'd never played it before in my life. Before I could say a word, Mom chimed in. Unfortunately, Phoebe's just sprained her wrist. Maybe next time. I looked at her confused. Why would she lie like that? Jeez. Mom, why did you say that I could play the piano? Ah, yes. I may have bragged to them that all of my adopted children are excellent. What can I say? All moms boasted about their kids, right? And yep, I'd grown up in an orphanage before Mom welcomed me into her family. This place is pretty grand, huh? I found it overwhelming at first, and ended up getting lost trying to find my room. Luckily, there are plenty of my adoptive sisters around to show me where to go. I do have 10 of them. Yep, you heard me right. 10. It was as if I had just moved from one orphanage to another, only no more orphaned. And we're all similar ages, which is unusual, as foster parents often prefer younger kids. They said us teenagers are rather stubborn. Not to mention how my adoptive dad is never around. Seriously, I couldn't even tell you what he looks like. So it's just us girls here. I got on best with Collins. She's a couple of years older than me, and we share the same bedroom. As much as I liked living with Mom and my sisters, Mom did make us all do strange things, such as wear cheesy clothes and walk in a straight line. Worse still, she forced me to learn the piano. Ugh, I was not at all musical. I just made a right din. She also taught me how to eat properly, but it did kind of feel like a dog training session. I was only allowed to eat when she showed a signal, and by the time I could catch up with how to use the silverwares, the meal was already finished. Ugh. But I suppose that's how every mom teaches her daughter, right? And apparently, Mom didn't have the patience to coach me anymore, so she handed me over to Collins, her star daughter. We spent an hour every day talking together, or rather, she gave me pointers on how to talk correctly. Collins said I needed to control my volume because I had a tendency to shout my words, and it wasn't very ladylike. I had to whisper at the same volume as her, and also choose my words carefully to show intelligence and grace. Ugh, maybe it'd be easier if I just didn't say anything at all from now on. Aside from Collins, I didn't have a chance to get to know my other sisters, as Mom made each of us pursue a different aptitude. Then we had to perform for her on our monthly assessment. Mom's overall very gentle and caring, but too strict when it comes to training. So we all have to spend a lot of time and effort in practice. One day I was trying to make sense of the music sheet when I heard Lexi complain, Ugh, why does Mom force me on this mission impossible? So boring. What? At least ice skating is 1,000 times more fun than the piano. If only. An idea popped into my head. That night, I went to my mom and timidly said, Mom, I want to switch from piano lessons to ice skating. I can exchange with Lexi. What? No. But why? Lexi doesn't even like ice skating. Well, it's because I can see potential in each one of you, so it's impossible to switch. Frustrated, I went back to my room and began whining to Collins, but she thought that it wasn't a big deal. Mom knows what's best for us. Well, that I'm not too sure about, yet we didn't even get to go to school. As Mom said, her homeschooling was enough. While I only found her method rather strange, I've dreamed of this perfect life with an amazing mom, but Mom was never very affectionate. It didn't matter how much we studied or tried to perfect our chosen hobby. She never cuddled or praised us, not even Collins, who's the smartest girl here. I was desperate to impress Mom, so one time I spent ages making this Portuguese appetizer for her, but all she did was take one bite and say it was okay. I asked her if she didn't like me, but she just replied in a growl tone that she was helping us to have a high position in society and a bright life. But I don't need those things. I just wanted her to like me. This place is so stuffy, and the only time that I can actually breathe is when I'm on my Friday morning bread buying errand. Ugh. Then suddenly someone patted me on my shoulder, which startled me so much I dropped my stuff. Hey, it's really you. But is something wrong with you? Why the strange walk? The only thing I'm good at is buying bread, but now you've ruined it. See? Jet stooped down to pick it up for me. He was still as rude as ever, but I still found myself jealous of this free spirit off him. We used to be a perfect match at our orphanage, and quite embarrassing to admit, but I was very naughty back then, and often shoplifted with him. You could go steal some more. Remember our tricks? I have to tell you 3 things. Firstly, I've been adopted. Secondly, my adoptive family is wealthy. And finally, I'm being educated to be a noble lady, so no more stealing. That's ridiculous. I also have 3 things for you. I've been adopted too. My parents love me so much. Oh, and they're cops. We looked at each other and burst out laughing. So we were both caught, weren't we? Jet and I sat down on a nearby bench to catch up, and when I poured my heart out about my new family, he interrupted me. Sounds strange to me. Why would they only adopt teenage girls? And what are those training lessons and monthly evaluations for? Then, Jet insisted that he would investigate my adoptive family. That's silly. But anyway, it's fun to reunite with a friend, and we agreed to hang out every Friday after that. And here comes my first assessment. Of course, I couldn't even play a simple melody, so I had to study for 3 more hours every day. My sisters suffered even more. Kinsley was forced to abstain from food because she weighed 2 kilograms more than the standard. In contrast, Willow had to eat continuously at night in order to gain 5 kilograms. If it's to this extent, then it must have not been simply for the sake of the casual boasting of a mom, right? On the next Bread Friday, I told Jet about last week's assessment. He firmly stated that there was a problem with my family. I don't think so, Jet. Mom just wants the best for us. Listen, Phoebe, I think she trained you guys on purpose. Each of you has to be good at a certain subject, just like the shopping orders. Orders? Don't go too far. You know Kobe beef? Cows are made to listen to music, given beer to drink, and massaged, but in the end, you know what the outcome is. Oh no. Is that what this is? Mom always said that she would give us the best life, as long as we worked hard. Were we being tested and stamped like those cows? One day, I came home to Collins excitedly packing her suitcase. Mom said she's taking me to a new school tomorrow. So Collins was leaving? But where? I'll miss you, sis. Text me when you get there? But days passed without a word from her. I asked Mom, and she said that Collins' hard work paid off, and she'd been accepted into a prestigious school, but they had a strict no phones rule. Huh, that sounded sus. So I told Jet, and he insisted I report the case. Another Friday, Jet and I met at a church near the bakery. Why did he choose this boring place? I was looking around when I saw a group of schoolgirls coming out of the church. They all wore the same dull uniform, had their hair neatly tied back in a bun, and all obediently lined up. Then there I saw her. Collins? I was about to rush over to greet her, but the glare of the woman accompanying her scared me off. This was not right. I'd got to ask Collins what was going on. So I grabbed Jet's arm and went after the group. But they got into a black car and sped away. Maybe they chose this church as a place for their transactions. Smart, huh? They put everyone in school uniforms so no one would suspect them. But seeing those faces, I'm sure they're about to be sent to the black market soon. Black market? The thought alone made me shudder. I had to save Collins. I couldn't let Mom get away with this. That night, I tiptoed downstairs to eavesdrop. Okay, I'll deliver her this weekend. Correct. She's 5'7". She can ice skate, cooking and painting. Of course, I have her trained as required. You won't be disappointed. So the deal goes as planned, okay? See you on Sunday. That's it. The next delivery was Lexi. I checked her room and saw her packing her stuff, a beam of innocent happiness on her face. I quickly texted Jet, and he immediately replied, "Just wait at home calmly. Don't act without thinking. I'll figure something out." That night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I was so terrified something terrible would happen to Lexi. So early the next morning, as soon as I saw Mom and Lexi getting in the car to leave, I snuck into the trunk, lay there without making any sound, and sent Jet the location. The car took a long time to stop. Had we finally arrived at the transaction location? When it seemed safe, I carefully climbed out and saw Mom talking to a fastidious-looking middle-aged woman. What did Mom say that made Lexi so panicked that she kept clutching Mom's hand? The woman handed Mom a rather thick envelope, then grabbed Lexi's hand and dragged her away. God, where was Jet? I couldn't just sit still like this and watch my sister being taken away. Let Lexi go! Now! Phoebe, What are you doing? Stop it. You're going to sell us, aren't you? I already know the truth. What on earth are you talking about, Phoebe? Furious, Mom pulled me away. Stop. Suddenly, 2 cops rushed in, ordering everyone to put their hands up. Behind them was Jet, still panting. Turns out they were Jet's adoptive parents. Help me! Mom's trying to sell me and my sister. Seeing that, the other woman quickly explained, No, there must be a misunderstanding here. I'm just helping Gianna's daughter to enroll at my school. Bewildered, my eyes darted from Mom to the other woman and then to Jet. In the principal's office, I told everyone why I thought my mom was a human trafficker. They all gasped in surprise. I made you practice that hard just because I want you to get in here, the most prestigious all-girls school, so that you can have a better life. I don't want to go to this school anymore, Mom. She told me all about the harsh rules. This place is terrifying. You can't force your kids to do that. You adopted them, so you have to make them feel safe and loved. Miss Gianna, this is a prestigious school, and it doesn't need your scandal. You led me to believe that your daughters were naturally gifted, which now transpires is all lies. I won't accept any child from your family from now on. No, they're my children. They deserve the best. Then she begged the principal to withdraw her decision, but she firmly shook her head. Suddenly, Mom shouted, Why? I just want them not to suffer like me. So what's wrong with that? Then Mom burst into tears. It turns out that in the past, Mom was in love with a politician. But he decided it would further his career if he chose to marry a graduate from this prestigious school instead. Mom loved him so much, she continued to be his mistress. But despite being fully provided for by him, Mom always felt that she was inferior to his official wife, especially when he proudly boasted about his smart wife and talented daughters. Then, when she wanted to start her own family, he wouldn't allow it. In the end, she decided to adopt girls and train them to become excellent so that they could enter this school regardless of their background. So that's the reason why she did this to us. I have to admit, I did feel a bit sorry for her. All of this was probably just to ease the pain of her past. But Mom, we don't want to go to this snooty school. We just want you to love us and protect us. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was only trying to help. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. And she hugged me. So, in the end, my sisters and I finally have a truly happy family. Mom doesn't make us do any dumb tasks anymore. Instead, she lets us pursue our own dreams and passions. Now we all go to a public school and live out our normal teen lives. It's wonderful finally having an amazing mom, incredible sisters, and my pretty awesome best friend, Jet, all by my side.
Why wasn't it working? I followed all the steps, but still, nothing. At that moment, my best friend Harry walked towards me and asked with a confused look, Hey, what you doing? Hey, Harry. I'm just working on this plan to become popular, but it isn't going so well. I changed my style and posted more on social media, but I'm still not cool. You're probably wondering why I was desperately wanting to be popular, right? Well, it's all because of my annoying hiccups. Last year, I was on stage performing the play Our Town when I suddenly started to hiccup, constantly. I couldn't stop, and the whole audience started to laugh at me. In the end, they had to replace me with my understudy. Not only was it the most humiliating moment of my life, but I've also been teased about it ever since. This year, I wanted to become popular. Then everyone would forget about the hiccuping incident. If only becoming popular was easy. Hey, you could help me. No way! Your plan is crazy! At that moment, the new student, Amanda, passed by, surrounded by a bunch of other students. Why is this girl so popular? I mean, she's only been here a week. You don't know? She's Dustin's sister. He's already the most popular guy in school. So being his sister makes her popular too. Duh. That's it, Harry. The fastest way for me to climb the popularity ladder is to date Dustin. At first, Harry seemed confused by this, but then he suddenly agreed to help me. With one condition, of course, that after I succeeded in becoming Dustin's girlfriend, I had to introduce Amanda to him. I knew it! He had a crush on her. Every guy in the school does. Fine, I'll help him. as I need Harry in this anyway. He plays a crucial role in my plan, and you'll soon figure out why. After school, I was waiting in a corner at the parking lot when Harry walked towards me, followed by Dustin. I heard you're giving tutor lessons? Yeah, that's right. I don't take money. I just need... What do you need? I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend. Dustin burst out laughing, but then when he saw our serious looks, he stopped. You two are crazy, but I do need to pass math, so... Okay. However, my grades have to improve within 2 weeks. Then we have a deal. Deal? I grinned. Within 2 weeks? That's so easy. What a catch. You must be wondering how we managed to pull that off. Well, Harry's on Dustin's soccer team and overheard the coach tell him if he didn't improve his math grade, he'd be kicked off the team. Basically, we used Dustin's weakness to get the deal. I know I had no chance with him by using my lousy flirting skills. So, it's time to use my greatest strength, my brain. Pretty smart, huh? I started to tutor Dustin. Then after 2 weeks, he shot up 2 grades. And that's when he held up his end of the deal and pretended to be my boyfriend. The next day, Dustin and I held hands and walked into school. And just as I expected, everybody was gawping at us. I even heard them whisper about me, "Is that the hiccup girl with Dustin?" And, "Whoa, since when were those two a thing?" Ha! And that's not all. Wherever I went, people would follow me. And in every class, everyone wanted to sit next to me. Finally, I was popular, and I loved it. I just finished tutoring Dustin at his house and was about to head home when his mom appeared and invited me to stay for dinner. Awkward, but I didn't want to be rude, so I said yes. Besides, this was a great opportunity to talk to Amanda. I was sitting next to Dustin at the dinner table when Amanda walked in and gave me a dirty look. What is she doing here? Amanda, manners! Okay, had I upset her somehow? After we finished eating, I helped Amanda clean up. I pulled some homemade chocolate cookies out of my bag and gave my friendliest smile as I said, my friend Harry, he likes you. I was wondering if... Without letting me finish my sentence, Amanda interrupted me. Sorry, let me stop you right there. First, I don't eat cookies. Gross. Second, I assume you're asking me if I want to go out with your friend, right? No, because he's a loser just like you. It's embarrassing enough that Dustin is dating you. Then she walked off, leaving me standing there dumbfounded. Oh my God, couldn't believe what I just heard. How could a person be so rude? Ugh! The next day at school, I wanted to tell Harry to give up on Amanda, but as soon as I caught sight of him, he ran towards me, hugged me, and said, "Emily, you're a matchmaking genius! Thank you!" Huh? What do you mean by that? Amanda just asked me if I wanted to come to her party this weekend. Isn't that great? Yay! What on earth was going on? But Harry looked so happy that I just couldn't tell him the truth. One thing's for sure, there's something sus about Amanda. Of course, I was going to that party too, 'cause I was Dustin's girlfriend, remember? Wow, we were actually at a cool kids party. Our first time ever. This was awesome. Harry even got a bit emotional. What a baby. Dustin and I teamed up to play beer pong, and it was so much fun, and unexpectedly, we won! We were so excited, and both of us cheered with joy and hugged each other without thinking. Oops, didn't see that coming. But what happened next was even crazier. Everybody started to cheer, "Kiss, kiss, kiss." Oh boy, they couldn't be serious, right? I just laughed it off and hoped everyone would stop. But no, they just kept cheering on. Suddenly, Dustin grabbed my face and kissed me right on the lips. I didn't push him away. Oh no, instead, I closed my eyes and got carried away. I even lifted up one leg. Oh, and FYI, that was my first kiss. After that, we both turned bright red and avoided eye contact. Ugh, my whole body felt hot like I was having a fever or something. Anyway, the party was everything I dreamed of and more. The next day, Harry and I arrived at school in a super good mood. But suddenly, we saw a bunch of students gathering around someone. We squished through the crowd and saw Amanda crying. Turns out, somebody from the party had stolen 2 of her mom's Fabergé eggs. Then, one of Amanda's friends suggested checking all backpacks and lockers of everyone who went to the party last night. But the chances are low. The culprit must have been able to hide all the evidence by now. Still, we should try everything we can, right? I couldn't bear seeing Amanda crying her eyes out like this. Then he gently patted her shoulder. Hey, that was smooth. Way to go, Harry. And so, we checked a few people's belongings, and still nothing was found. Then it was Harry's turn. He opened the locker and, oh my God, one of the Fabergé eggs was in there. But how? He would never do such a thing. I opened my locker and, what? There was the other one! What on earth was going on? Suddenly, Amanda started shouting at us. I knew it was you two! Hey everybody, Emily over here manipulated Dustin by using his weaknesses, his love of soccer and his dislike for math. Then she forced him to pretend to be her boyfriend just so she could be cool. Everybody started glaring at me like I was the villain, but I wasn't. There was a misunderstanding. I looked over to Dustin for help, but he just avoided my gaze, then walked off. I didn't know what to do, so I just stood there in shock until Harry dragged me off with him. Well, after that, I was more popular than ever. I was now known as the girl who took advantage of a guy to get popular and then stole from him. Worse, Amanda wouldn't listen to me. Harry and I were clearly framed. I wish I could go back to my normal life before I made that stupid deal with Dustin. Oh, but then that kiss wouldn't have happened. Oh boy, might I have fallen for Dustin? Then suddenly I got a text from Amanda. It was a clip from the recent party with the message, "You're nothing to Dustin." Why are you dating this loser? Wasn't she the girl who hiccuped during the play? I will use her until the end of this semester. Oh my, I couldn't believe he said that. I knew he didn't like me in the way I liked him, but did he have to be so mean? The clip automatically replayed again. Ugh, watching this one time was bad enough. But wait, there was a detail in the clip that caught my attention. I rewound it and, oh my God, there were the 2 missing Fabergé eggs. The clip was recorded at midnight, but Harry and I left the party way before then. I quickly rushed over to Dustin and Amanda's house and showed them the video. I don't remember you both leaving earlier. What if you're lying? Well, I noticed your front door has cameras. If you want, we could check them. Dustin turned to Amanda and confusingly asked, Did you put those eggs in Emily and Harry's lockers? Amanda said nothing, but her head down said it all. But why would you do that? Emily didn't do anything wrong. Because I don't like her being your girlfriend. I like you. What? Isn't she his sister? Oh, turns out they aren't actually siblings. Whew, that would have been weird. The truth is their parents were really close, and when Amanda's parents died in an accident, Dustin's family took her in. So Amanda was like a sister to Dustin, but Amanda, on the other hand, has been in love with him for a long time. I decided not to make a big deal out of it. As long as she posted a status on social media saying this was all a misunderstanding and that we didn't steal from her, and she reluctantly agreed. Afterward, I immediately got out of there without saying anything else to Dustin, but he ran after me and apologized for not defending me the other day. He just couldn't choose between me and Amanda. And then he said, That clip you saw wasn't what you think. Ugh. What's there not to understand? It was so obvious. Then what is it? Please tell me. But Dustin just stood there silent and stared down at his sneakers. Just like I thought. There's nothing else to explain, so I stormed off. The next day, Amanda posted the status and our names were finally cleared. My life is back to being boring, but it's okay, as I now know that being popular isn't what brings me happiness. Oh, and about me and Dustin? Well, a few days later, he sent me a video. It was the same clip from the party. At first, this frustrated me. I mean, why would he make me endure watching that again? But then I noticed that this clip was longer, so out of curiosity, I pressed play. And you won't believe what happened in the second half of that video. After the part where Dustin said he just wanted to use me, everybody teased him more. He got angry and yelled. Yes, Emily is weird, but weird in a good way. I like the way she smells books every time she opens one, and the cute way she gets embarrassed when she sneezes loudly. And do you know what I like most about her? that she hiccups every time she's nervous. You heard me right. I like her. You see? Dustin likes me too. Amanda cut this part of the video out on purpose so I'd misjudge him. But now that I knew the truth, what do you think I did? Yeah, of course I forgave him. I mean, how couldn't I? I was taking an interesting looking book from the bookshelf when suddenly I saw a face peering back at me. Wait a minute. Oh God, not him! I quickly hid my face behind a book, but too late. He'd already seen me. Duh, what was I thinking? Now I looked even more pathetic. You must be wondering why I was desperately avoiding this dude. Well, this wasn't just any dude. It was my ex-boyfriend, Owen. Talk about a day ruined. Oh, hi, Owen. I didn't see you there. Are you here by yourself? Oh no, I'm here with my girlfriend. There she is. Hey babe, I'm here. I turned around and, geez, my day just went from bad to catastrophic. How on earth did they end up together? Yep, I knew that girl. She's Mila, my stepsister. Oh, let me tell you about her. Actually, before we became stepsisters, Mila and I went to the same high school together, but we weren't close or anything. But out of the blue, my mom and Mila's dad somehow got together and soon got married. I tried being friendly towards her, but no matter what I did, she remained cold and unpleasant towards me. She even forbid me from telling anyone at school that we were family. And she started to compete with me for team tryouts, in tests, everything. Then one day, after a few months of living together, she informed our parents that she was moving in with her mom and switching schools. Why, you ask? Well, 'cause she couldn't stand living with me anymore. I'm not gonna lie, hearing her say that hurt like crazy. All I'd been was nice to her. But fine, if that's what she wanted to do, then whatever. And like I said, that guy over there is my ex, Owen. We used to date when I was a sophomore and he was a senior. But then he dumped me for the most ridiculous reason ever. Well, back then, I was on a strict diet. Every time we went out for some food, I would order a depressing-looking salad, and Owen would order a delicious hamburger with fries on the side. So I always snuck a fry or two from his plate, and a couple of bites out of his burger. But I mean, sharing is something totally normal in a relationship, right? But, well, Owen didn't think so. So just like that, he ended things with me, then went away to college. But now he was back in town for summer break, and he was dating my stepsister. Ugh. Oh, hey Amy. Long time no see. Oh yeah, I hope you don't mind, but I'm with Owen now. Ugh, I hate her sarcasm. And did she have to latch onto his arm and stroke his hair? What about you, Amy? Are you seeing anyone at the moment? There was no way I was going to tell them I was single. That would be so embarrassing. So I flipped my hair, then started bragging about my awesome older boyfriend. A mature guy who has the face of a movie star and the body of a Calvin Klein model. Wrinkles started to form between Mila's eyebrows. In your face! But then Owen suddenly said, Great! How about a double date tomorrow night? What? Great idea, babe! I want to meet the lucky guy who stole my sister's heart. My God, they weren't joking. Ugh! I had no other choice but to agree. Darn it. Where was I going to find a handsome older guy by tomorrow? Amy, are you trying to wear away that table? Oops. I'd been so preoccupied with my dating dilemma, I hadn't realized I'd been cleaning the same table for 20 minutes. Hey, but wait. I took a closer look at my manager's face. Jake is handsome, older than me, and he's single. My God, I'd found my fake boyfriend. Now I just needed to persuade him. But he's way too serious to help with this stupid situation. I did know he was on the search for his perfect girlfriend, as I'd overheard him complaining about the disastrous dates he's been on. Cue my perfect plan. After we closed the coffee shop, I volunteered to clean up so I had an excuse to stay late with Jake. Hey Jake. My boyfriend Owen has an intelligent, gorgeous-looking sister who I want to introduce you to. At first he wasn't interested, so I showed him Mila's prettiest picture. Holy moly! That's his sister? Jeez, why so surprised? Mila is not that beautiful. Whatever, at least I had his attention. I asked him if he wanted to go on a double date, and he immediately agreed. Yes, jackpot! So my plan worked. But the only issue was that my fake boyfriend thinks he was on a date with Mila and that I was with Owen, when in reality they were actually both together. But no worries, I could pull this off. Right? So for our double date, we all went bowling. Jake took an instant liking to Mila and tried to impress her with his bowling skills. Me, on the other hand, sucked at bowling and got constantly teased by Owen. So when it was his turn and he misjudged his throw and threw the ball straight in the gutter, I had loads of fun teasing him back. To be honest, I was enjoying hanging out with him. And please, don't get me started with his looks. He's definitely grown more handsome with time. Suddenly, it was my turn again, and Owen was asking me if I wanted him to show me how to throw a bowling ball correctly. I timidly said yes. So he stood behind me, touched my hand, and showed me. Oh my God, my whole body was heating up, and I could feel that Owen was blushing too. Hang on, I think I still have feelings for him. Mila didn't deserve him. He should be with me. Overall, the double date was a big success. Jake didn't suspect a thing. And not only that, but he also helped keep Mila away from Owen so that I had a chance to win him back. But then a few days later, Jake told me that he really liked Mila and asked me if I could set them up on a date, but this time only the two of them. What? He actually liked Mila? Of course, I couldn't set them up. It was impossible, because Mila was with Owen. So, reluctantly, I suggested another double date. He agreed, but this time he insisted that we went out for a romantic dinner. Fine. Everything was okay at first, but then Owen placed his arm around Mila while she fed him some of her mashed potatoes. I glanced over at Jake and saw the dumbfounded look on his face. I needed to separate them quickly, so I asked Mila to come to the bathroom with me. Oh, Owen is such a great guy. He's so thoughtful, and he always treats me like a princess. Ugh, she's so annoying. Well, enjoy him while you can, 'cause he would soon be mine again. When I walked out of the bathroom, Jake ran over to me and dragged me into a corner. Owen and Mila are really strange, don't you think? Are you hiding something from me? What? I would never. They're just close siblings, that's all. Oh, and by the way, I talked to Mila in the bathroom, and she thinks you're a great guy. Of course, that was a big fat lie. If I was Pinocchio, my nose would be as long as an entire baseball bat. But at least Jake was buying it, 'cause he looked so thrilled. We went back to the table and continued this so awkward dinner. Suddenly, Owen and Mila started calling each other Buttercup, Cutie Pie, and other disgusting nicknames. Jake and I just sat there with super awkward faces. Hey, Mila, you and Owen seem to be pretty close. Have you always been this way? Of course. We just can't get enough of each other, can we, sweet stuff? She looked at Owen with dreamy eyes and kissed him on the cheek. Yes, on the freaking cheek! I looked over to Jake and, yep, he looked so horrified. But maybe he hadn't figured out they aren't siblings. Ugh, who am I kidding? Of course he'd figured it out. After the double date, he yelled at me for tricking him. I explained to him that I really like Owen and that I was trying to win him back. What about you? Do you like Mila? Jake silently thought for a minute, then nodded. He really likes Mila a lot. So I suggested that we should team up to break the couple up. And Jake agreed. I told Jake that Mila is into photography and also has professional equipment. So he messaged her asking if she could take photos of the coffee shop for his online page. And Mila said yes. While that was going on, I turned into a complete creep and followed Owen just so I could accidentally bump into him at the bakery. Then we had some croissants and talked about the old days. I thought it would be fun spending a whole day with Owen, but no. On the contrary, it soon began to get boring. Kinda annoying even. Turns out, his personality hadn't changed at all. He kept his food out of biting distance of me and still told the lamest jokes. Listen to this. What do you call a sad coffee? A depresso. Now I regret buying him that coffee. Maybe I should reconsider this. I mean, do I really want this boring guy back? Then he told me he was planning a special surprise for Mila, and he wanted to discuss it with me over dinner at his place. When I was in the kitchen helping him to cook, he suddenly lunged forward and tried to kiss me. Huh? What? I was so startled that I threw some carrots in his face. Oh my God. My plan actually worked and Owen had fallen for me. What about Mila? I thought this whole meeting was about a surprise for her. And that was when Owen came clean to me. He had no surprise planned for Mila. That was just a ruse to get me here. Also, turns out the time we met at the bookstore wasn't by chance. Owen had been stalking me. What? Creep! He also knew that Mila was my stepsister, so he purposely got with her to make me jealous. Amy, it's you that I love. It's always been you. What? Hearing him say that gave me the shivers. Well, now at least one thing's for sure. Any feelings I thought I had for him had 100% evaporated. Letting you go was a big mistake. Please come back to me. Mila means nothing to me. I don't care about her at all. Oh, wow. Owen is a massive jerk. How dare he take advantage of Mila's feelings like that? Ugh, I needed to warn her. But before doing that, I had to give him a piece of my mind. Let me make this clear. I only went on a double date with you guys because I didn't want to lose to Mila. Nothing else. May I remind you that you're the idiot that split up with me? Oh, and your jokes are really lame. And that's it. Owen just stood there with a bewildered look on his face, and I left. I ran straight to the cafe shop where Mila was and blurted out the whole truth about how Owen was just using her to make me jealous. I can't believe you're doing it again. What do you mean by that? Don't act all innocent. You're stealing my boyfriend again. Huh? What did she mean by again? Turns out back then, Mila had a crush on Owen. So when Owen and I started dating, she got real mad. And that's why she was always so cold with me. I didn't know. I swear. If I knew that, I would never have dated him. Ugh, just stop. I know you can't stand losing to me. Just leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with you. I give up. Talking to her was pointless. But then Jake suddenly spoke up. Mila, she's trying to protect you. If she didn't care about you, then she'd just let you be with that jerk. But no, she told you the truth even though she knew you'd probably react like this. Because that's what sisters do. They protect each other. Mila fell quiet for a bit, but then realized Jake was right. So we sat together and had a long, serious talk. There were laughter, tears, and copious amounts of hot chocolates, but in the end, we finally seemed to understand each other. So that was it. After all the drama, Mila and I put aside our feud and made up. At first, Mila was kinda sad about what Owen did to her. Luckily, Jake kept her company, and she soon opened up to him, and their relationship developed. And now they're dating. Yahoo! About me, I may still be single, but I'm okay with that. The main thing is that After all these years of hating and competing, Mila and I made up. I don't have a boyfriend, but I have something better. I have my sister back.
Too much studying and not enough sleep was making me feel like a zombie. Chocolate would help, right? So I drowsily walked downstairs. Huh? Why was my whole family there with their suitcases? Are you guys going somewhere? Yes, Colorado for a ski trip. That's awesome! You're the best, Daddy! Not you, Helen. You have studying to do. And this is a special award for Christine for winning her scholarship. What? So you're just going to leave me out because of some meaningless grades? This is so unfair. Ugh! Whatever. I don't even need them to go with me. Shh. Come here. And I'm gonna let you in on a secret. I can go to the ski resort by myself and have way more fun. But how, you ask? It's called lucid dreaming. I first heard about it through the biggest buzz movie, Inception, and realized that I've had experienced the same things before. Since then, I've become an expert at this. So before I go to bed, I just have to write a script saying where I want to go, with whom, what I want to do, and 3, 2, 1. I'm asleep and living my best life. In fact, I could say that those beautiful self-designed dreams are like meditation to me. Because, to be honest, my real life is tedious. No matter how hard I tried, I was no match for my younger half-sister, Christine. In my dad and grandma's eyes, a child of a doctor in physics, as well as a grandchild of a history professor, should automatically be a walking encyclopedia or something. But unfortunately, I didn't excel at the academic side of life. Ugh. They treat Christine like this precious gemstone and me like some boring old rock. Every week usually entails her getting excellent grades or winning some reward, then all of my family lavishing her with gifts and praise, while I'm treated like an outsider in my own family. Ugh! Just thinking about it makes me want to scream. So, they want me to stay home and concentrate on tomorrow's test, huh? Nah, you wish. So instead, I grabbed my pen and started writing tonight's awesome dream script. Let's see. That's right. The obnoxious Roger dared to heartlessly throw the candy I gave him in the trash, even though he'd been flirting with me. What a jerk. I will definitely retaliate against him tonight. Lying in bed, I closed my eyes and repeated this sentence. I'm going to kick him out of my life. And you won't believe it. In the dream, he kept chasing me like crazy, but I totally blanked him. Helen, wake up! Time's running out! My best friend Gabby kicked my chair and I jolted awake. Oh no, there were only 5 minutes left. I frantically ticked on the paper and hurriedly submitted it to the monitor. Hey, did you not get any sleep or something? Well, I stayed up late writing the script for my dream. It was worth it as I got payback on Roger. What if you get a bad grade? Never mind. I'll be fine when I come home tonight with an A+ dream. But things turned out not to be as simple as I thought. That afternoon when I arrived home, I was about to sneak up to my bedroom to write my next amazing script when someone grabbed my bag strap and pulled me back. It was Grandma and Dad, and both of them seemed to be mad. How long are you going to live like this? Education is important to this family, yet you don't seem to care. Do you realize this week alone your teacher has contacted me 3 times? But Dad, I really don't like those boring subjects. I only like no more drawing or writing your silly stories. You need to focus on your studies, else you'll end up a useless person like... She suddenly stopped, which made me curious. Like who? But neither she nor my dad said anything. They just quietly walked away, leaving me alone. Honestly, I never wanted to disappoint them that much. So this time I was going to try my best to not let them down. Dad! Grandma! Look! I got a B+ in my math test! No one cared what I said. My stepmom cuddled Christine and looked at her with sparkling eyes. My wonderful daughter. I know the top student award is just a piece of cake to you, unlike someone else. Then she turned to me and tutted, Helen, please, you're making a show of yourself. That's embarrassing. My face fell, and I forced back tears. But I tried so hard to get this grade. A B+ is nothing to be proud of. I chucked my exam paper in the trash, then stormed up to my room. It didn't matter what I did or how hard I tried, this household would always treat me like a loser. Dream on, Helen. Go back to your happy place. In front of me was the crimson sunset sky. I'd been scripting this moment for so long, lounging lazily on the beach without anyone complaining. But suddenly the sky darkened, and the inky clouds seemed intent on swallowing me. Huh? What was going on? This wasn't a part of the script. Terrified, I ran into a forest, but it was so dark and spooky here, and I tripped over a branch and fell. Ouch! As I rubbed my ankle and started crying my eyes out, suddenly a strange woman appeared. She took me into a wooden house at the end of the forest and gently helped bandage me up. This woman, well, she didn't scare me at all. Instead, I felt warm around her. Curious, I tried to take a closer look at her face, but then I suddenly woke up and realized tears were rolling down my cheeks. What a strange dream. I immediately drew all the things I'd seen, that forest, that house, but strangely, I couldn't remember that woman's face. Why are you drawing all this nonsense? My dad snatched the sketch from my hand and looked at it frowning. It appeared in my dream and... Get rid of them all. From now on, if I see you wasting your time on these stupid drawings again, there will be consequences. This was too much. I couldn't live without drawing. It was the only thing keeping me sane. I had to get out of here, live my way. Forget them and their stupid standards. I would create my own world. I planted myself in Gabby's room, and this is where I've been for almost a week. Luckily, Gabby's parents are totally chill with me staying. As for my family, they haven't messaged me once. And yes, dreams do go on. But now I dreaded going to sleep as my lucid dreams were still all messed up. Sometimes beautiful, sometimes bad. And for the most part, it did not turn out the way I wanted it to anymore. Until one day, that creepy forest appeared again. No matter how much I screamed to wake myself up, I still couldn't get out of that nightmare. Panicked, I kept running and running in the hope of finding a safe place till I saw that woman. And once again, she reached out her hand to help me. This time, I wouldn't miss my chance. I looked carefully at her face, remembering every detail, and as soon as I woke up, I drew her. Wow, I didn't know you watched this kind of show. Gabby giggled. What show? Look, she's a celebrity. She hosts some TV show that my mom watches sometimes. So, that woman is a real person? If so, I have to find her. I didn't really know what was going on, only that there was something tying me to this woman and I needed to figure this out. Luckily, Gabby has an uncle who works at the studio, and he gave us special passes to meet this host in the flesh. When the cameras stopped filming, she turned and saw me, and her eyes widened in alarm. Helen? Helen, is it really you? Then she rushed over and hugged me. Huh? What did she just say? We didn't know each other, and the weird thing is, this hug didn't feel strange at all. Instead, I felt the same warmth as when she'd taken care of me in my dream. As she loosened her embrace on me and gave me this beaming smile, I said, and you are? Darling, it's me, your mother. That's when I realized something. Of course, she was my mom. Look, we had the same eyes. Needless to say, this was a huge shock. We hugged each other for a long time in tears. Then Mom took me backstage, got me a glass of water, then she told me everything. So after I was born, Mom once got caught up in a cheating scandal. Dad was angry about the damage this would do to his career, so he kicked her out of the house and wouldn't let her see me. A long time later, she found out that Grandma was behind everything, just because she didn't approve of this marriage, so she came up with that plan. But why didn't you ever try to find me when you've always been living this close? Oh, no, sweetie. I've always kept an eye on you. One time, years ago, I saw you playing in the park. You had your hair in pigtails and... I tried to approach you, but your dad threatened me. He is a very powerful man who's actually capable of destroying my life. And I didn't think it was fair to drag you through all of that. But things have changed now. I'll never leave you alone, ever again. I strolled into the house like normal, and everyone stopped what they were doing and glared at me with disgust. Oh, you're back. If you're not prepared to study properly, then don't bother staying. I took a deep breath, then said, You can't treat me like this anymore. I try my best, and it's not fair that you punish me for just being me. So I'm leaving, and I'm never coming back. Psst, where will you go? That's when Mom walked in. Oh God, you should have seen the looks on their faces. Grandma actually looked like she'd swallowed a swarm of wasps. I stood by and let you manipulate and control me. Well, no more. I'm taking my daughter, and we're going to have the life we both deserve. Then, ignoring their angry words, she grabbed my arm and led me out of there. So that's the moment when I left home and moved in with my mom. Now I draw as much as I want. In fact, Mom's letting me create a mural on the living room wall. It's going to be epic when it's finished. Oh, and about the lucid dreams, I don't write scripts anymore. Instead, I realized that I'm better off focusing on my reality and making myself the best version of myself I can be. After all, as great as a dream world can be, it's nowhere near as good as experiencing life firsthand.
Wow! Magnificent! So, I'm going to live here from now on? Unbelievable! Everything has happened so quickly that I was struggling to believe it was real. Yesterday afternoon, when I was helping out in my family's diner, suddenly a film crew rushed in and claimed that they were from the reality TV program Long Lost Love, which reunites lost family members. While I stood there confused, they announced to me that I was the lost child of the famous director Gabriel Perez. What? Did that mean my parents adopted me? Through tears, my parents told me that 13 years ago, in a bustling, crowded fair, they saw me wandering around aimlessly, so they brought me home. And even though they reported it to the cops, there were no leads, so they decided to adopt me. And so begins my life as a young lady of a rich family. As you'd expect with the home of a famous director, my father's mansion was impeccable. From the designer furniture to the stylish decor, the whole house was like a French-style castle. I peered at the huge photo of my grand-looking parents. Suddenly, there was a whisper.
The master must be very happy, you know. His second wife couldn't give him a child after all these years. Yes. Now that he's older, he had to search for his biological child to lean on.
Oh, so this woman, the woman who came with Dad to the reunion yesterday, wasn't my biological mother? In that case, I wonder who's my real mom.
Miss, come in, please.
Inside were my parents and some specialists who then immediately pulled me in for a complete makeover. Whoa, I looked really gorgeous. My hair was so glossy, and this makeup made me look so glamorous. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would end up living here and feeling like a princess. Beaming with happiness, I turned to look at my dad. But suddenly, I was startled to meet eyes with the maid. She looked so gloomy. Why did she keep staring at me with a poker face? That was odd. Carol, let's move along. Strange. But never mind. Maybe she's always like that when she's seeing strangers. OMG. Dinner was so luxurious, including caviar and steak. This was so exciting. That night, I couldn't sleep and just rolled around in bed until dawn. But little did I know what an exhausting day was waiting for me ahead. 5 a.m. sharp, I was shaken awake. Huh? Was there a fire or something? A maid informed me that I had a very important press conference this morning, and it was imperative I looked the part. I groggily got out of bed and plonked myself in the chair. I had to wear this posh dress and have this old-fashioned bouncy hairstyle. Ugh! This made me look about 25. OMG! I swear this press conference was the most boring thing ever. For several hours, their conversations couldn't stray away from showing off their wealth, comparing their popularity, and all the showbiz stuff. I yawned dozens of times, but had to hide it behind my hand. I could feel my stepmother scrutinizing me. Ugh! I wanted to go home. You see, the type of person I hate the most are those kinds of showy, scornful ladies. But unfortunately, they're the only ones I've been interacting with. I missed hanging out with the kids my own age. But yeah, since I moved here, my parents insisted on homeschooling me, so I wouldn't be influenced by other inferior children. Ugh! Worse still, the only thing they teach me is about acting and movie stuff. How is that going to help me get into college? But that's not all. After studying, despite being tired, my stepmother forced me to spend a further 2 hours working out in the home gym. Every time I gasped for breath or snuck a snack, she would give me a novel-long lecture. The worst part is she banned anything sweet and made me stick to this strict diet full of celery and hummus. Gross! Then one time I slipped and fell off the exercise bike and twisted my ankle. My stepmother was so furious with me that she made me go to bed without my dinner. I couldn't take it anymore, so I hobbled into my father's room. Dad, why do I have to do these things? I don't like it. Dad said nothing, but just quietly signaled for me to follow him. He led me to a locked room at the end of the hallway. When the door opened, I saw a portrait of a very beautiful woman hanging in the middle of the room. Hang on a minute. My new hair and clothes were identical to hers. Dad stared at the portrait with dreamy eyes. Then he said that this woman used to be a very famous actress. He told me how they fell in love. Then she gave birth to me. So that means this is my mother?
That's right. Your mother is very beautiful, isn't she? And I'll make you perfect, just like her.
Then Dad waved me out of there, locked the door, and went away, leaving me standing alone shaking. There was something about his words that unsettled me. Curious about Mum, I went to an old maid to ask for more information. It turned out that in the past, my dad was my mom's manager, and thanks to her popularity, he made a lot of money. Mom was the muse for Dad's movies and also the love of his life. But unfortunately, because of a serious illness, she passed away. That was a huge trauma for Dad, and he seemed to lose himself. Ever since then, his head's been in the clouds, and he doesn't always make a lot of sense. Is that true? No wonder sometimes I found Dad's words creepy.
It's time for your yoga lesson. And why exactly are you talking to her? Now that you're rich, show some dignity. Don't liaise with the staff.
You're not my mom. You can't control me.
How dare you? I'm only showing you kindness because your father asked me to. A silly little girl like you means nothing to me.
You're so mean. It's no surprise why. You know, my mother is 100 times prettier than you. That's why Dad wants to make me like her.
You! Sooner or later, you'll end up like my poor daughter. Just enjoy the calm before the storm.
Huh? What did she say? What daughter? Didn't people say she had no children? Then, a few days later, as I was walking down the hallway, feeling exhausted because my current diet plan only included 2 apples a day, I heard the maids whispering to each other. Look, she won't be able to hold out. It won't last long. Her looks are fading. It's not long now. Then she'll end up like the previous one. What previous one? I went over to ask, but on seeing me, they immediately made up some excuses to flee the scene. Suddenly, someone leaned into my ear and said, "Try not to lose your looks, or else." Huh? I turned and saw that it was that strange maid, Carol. As I watched her walk off, I wondered what she meant by that. Obviously, she doesn't like me, but why? Honestly, there are so many confusing things about this family. Everything is so far from normal, it may as well be on its own planet. They're hiding something from me. I just need to figure out what. One day, while Dad and Patricia went away for an event, I snuck into their bedroom and looked around for the key to the secret room. Result! It was hidden in an old jewelry box. And whoa! This place was
full of photos and DVDs and stuff. I found an album labeled Happy Family, and there were so many photos of Dad and Patricia with a pretty little baby girl. There was one photo of that baby girl turned 10. Written on the back of it was 12/15/2014. Happy birthday, our pretty sweetheart. Stay beautiful, Carol. Carol? The birth year. Green eyes. Could it be? That's it. The baby girl was Carol, the maid. Maybe puberty hitting changed her appearance and she's not as pretty anymore. But I could still tell some of her old features. So Carol was the previous young lady and also the poor daughter that Patricia mentioned. That made sense, as I'd seen Patricia interacting more with her than the other maids. I once even noticed her helping Carol clean up the dishes. I was still overwhelmed with the secret I just found out when I looked through the window and saw Dad's car pull up in the driveway. Panicked, I took that photo and ran out of there. I had to leave this place, or else I'd turn into another Carol. I kept on running, but then I bumped straight into Patricia. Oh no. Please let me go. I don't want to live like this any longer. Please. Patricia snatched the photo from my hand, then took my wrist and dragged me along. Let me go! Get in the car. Where do you want to go? To my adoptive parents' house. On our way, Patricia told me everything. She was once a famous actress who met, then fell for Gabriel. At first, she didn't mind attaining his high beauty standards, but then she realized that how he made her act and dress was all based on his late wife. She thought that having a child would change him, so they adopted Carol. She was very beautiful when she was little, so they spoiled her and took her everywhere to brag. But when she grew older, her looks began to fade, so Gabriel made her their maid. My dad needed a pretty girl to be her replacement, to be his own muse, so he decided to find another one. Truth was, he had no long-lost daughter. Instead, he got a private detective to look up unsolved missing child cases and discovered me. Oh my God! Unbelievable! Now Patricia, too, was exhausted from living this life, with a man who was still besotted with his dead wife. She felt bad for Carol, and for me, too. So, okay, turns out Patricia wasn't as bad as I thought. On the contrary, she was kinda pitiful. We are so sorry for letting you move into that house. I knew there was something not quite right about the situation, but I wanted you to be happy without money worries. So, we let you go. We should have realized. We're so sorry. I'm sorry for not being able to stop Gabriel. He went too far. I was sobbing in my mom's arms when I saw Gabriel. He stormed in and dragged me along. This one's mine, so she's coming with me. You can't just buy her. She's my daughter. Right at that moment, my sister Hannah arrived back from school. Gabriel's eyes lit up when he saw her. Then he immediately rushed over and grabbed her arm. Ha ha ha! Then I'll take this one. Not so pretty, but I can make it work. We all charged towards him and freed Hannah from his grasp. Gabriel seemed frantic and refused to leave. My parents had to literally bundle him out of the house, then call the cops. So, what now? Well, at first, I was pretty mad with my parents for letting me go so easily. But I guess they just wanted me to have no money struggles or anything. So, I've forgiven them, and now we all live a humble but happy life running the diner. Carol and her mom visit sometimes. They moved out of Gabriel's mansion, and they seem much happier now. As for Gabriel, as far as I know, he's still searching for the perfect beauty to replace his dead wife. There's a part of me that kind of feels sorry for him, but luckily, he can't come anywhere near me or my family, as we have a restraining order against him. Looking back on it all, I now realize that I already had everything I needed. Okay, so we might not be rich, but we have kindness, love, and happiness. And trust me, those things are way more important than bags full of money.
I was casually walking along the hallway, just minding my own business, when I felt a cold breeze rush through the hallway. I turned my head to see, and oh, it was Natasha. I didn't mean to look her in the eye, but I did. Oh no, was she going to hit me? Panicked, I quickly glared down at my feet. My heart was thudding with fear, and inside my head, I repeated, "Please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me." But to my relief, she walked past me. Phew! Hi, I'm Marcus, and you might be wondering why I'm so afraid of that girl, right? Well, there's a reason why her nickname is Silent but Deadly. She's the tallest girl in the school, intimidating, and she never utters a word. The school was full of rumors about her, such as how the last kid who messed with her ended up in intensive care. Nobody, and I mean nobody, should ever look her in the eye, not unless they want to end up unconscious. I definitely just had a lucky escape. Thankfully, not all the girls in my school were as terrifying as Natasha. Nope. Instead, there was this really cute girl named Naomi. She's beautiful, sweet, and gentle. Only, she's also super popular and is dating Nicholas, the captain of the basketball team. So I just kept my feelings to myself and carried on with my life. But wait, where's my notebook? I guess I left it back in the science lab. So I rushed in there and, oh no, Nicholas was there and he was reading my notebook. I quickly grabbed it off of him, but it was too late. He'd already taken pictures of the song lyrics I wrote about my feelings for Naomi. Blast it! So let me get this straight. A nerd like you dares to daydream about Naomi? But we have a problem here. She's my girlfriend. Don't you know that? Wait, it's not like that. I'll stay away from her, I promise. Nicholas gave me this unnerving look. Ugh, no good thing could ever come from a look like that. I braced myself for what he was about to do next. You have to do everything I say, else I'm gonna ruin your life. Huh? Was he being serious? Judging by his devious smirk, yup, he was 100% being serious. I want you to ask Natasha out. Make sure you do it in front of the whole class. What? Natasha? That scary girl? How could I? If you say no, the entire school will know about this. Then he waved his phone in front of me. Ugh, that vile Nicholas. But I couldn't risk my song being sent to everyone, so it looked like I had no choice. So the following day, I walked over to Natasha's desk and asked her, Natasha, will you be my girlfriend? The whole class was silent. Then they burst out laughing. She glared at me. Ugh, this wasn't good. I winced, preparing for the death punch. But instead, she led me out into a corner of the hallway. Then she gave me this weak smile, followed by a nod. Oh my God, did she just agree to be my girlfriend? This is crazy. It was completely beyond my expectations. But, whew, at least I was still alive, right? And that's how I ended up dating the scariest girl in school. She never spoke to me, not even a word. So I just helped her with her studies and carried her stuff around. We also exchanged numbers, but we only chatted through messages. Then one day when I was on my way to have lunch with Natasha, Nicholas strolled over to me and told me I had to take her to the cinema to catch this awful-looking rom-com, which didn't seem like her thing at all. But what other choice did I have? Nicholas' words were orders. So I asked her over lunch, and to my surprise, Natasha smiled, then gave me a big thumbs up as agreement. When I went to pick up Natasha, she was already waiting for me on her porch. She walked over with a notepad. Curious, I asked her why she had it, and she wrote, I won't be able to text you during the movie, so this will have to do. Yep, Natasha has always been different from everyone else, so I didn't ask anymore. During the film, I noticed Natasha was crying, so when it was over and we stopped for lunch, I teased her. I saw you crying during the movie. She slammed her notepad on the table after she wrote, I was not crying. I just laughed and took her home. Maybe she wasn't as scary as the rumors made her out to be. To be honest, she was also quite cute. The more time I spent with Natasha, the more I started to warm to her. There was something I liked about her, even though we had only communicated through sticky notes. I was desperate to hear her voice, so I hatched a plan. When we were in the library on a study date, I picked up an old book and blew the dust in her face. She almost sneezed. But before she did, she placed her hand over her mouth and raced into the girls' bathroom. Then she returned wearing a mask. After that, I tried to make her laugh. I quickly took 2 pencils from the table and stuffed them into my nose. and started making ugly faces. But Natasha just glared at me and handed me a note. If you continue to do these ridiculous things, there will be payback. Huh, no way was I giving up. So the next day, when I saw her by her locker, I rushed over to her and began imitating the voices of the minions. I thought it would definitely work this time, but no, instead she punched me in the arm. Ouch! Yep, I now learned that the rumor about her inhuman strength was not an exaggeration. So I just gave up and our relationship continued. Then one weekend, when I was at Natasha's house to study, I went down to the kitchen to get a drink, just as her mom returned from the grocery store. As I helped her unpack, we started talking. She told me about Natasha's love of collecting glass art, the pieces of which filled the house. Then her mom touched my shoulder and thanked me for making her daughter happy again. Oh man, this was awkward. Now I felt super bad. To divert the convo, I asked if Natasha talked at home, but she just smiled and replied, "Natasha's such a quiet kid, right?" Then she told me how it's because Natasha's always been taller than the other kids, but she has a squeaky voice. This led to lots of teasing, and once she got so upset, she pushed a boy over and accidentally caused him to have a nosebleed. Since then, people started to shun her, so she withdrew from herself and stayed silent. Hearing this made me feel so guilty. What I was doing was wrong, and Natasha didn't deserve this. Then her mom said something that truly shocked me. In middle school, this one girl named Naomi was horrible to all. The mean comments got so bad she refused to go into school for weeks at a time. Huh? Naomi? The same Naomi I know? No way! Confused, I told Natasha's mom I needed to leave and left her looking bewildered as I ran out of there. My mind was a mess. I had a crush on a mean girl. And I'm just as bad, if not worse, after what I did to Natasha. Then my phone rang with a text from Natasha. It said, "Sorry if my mom said something she shouldn't have. You okay?" I texted back, "We need to talk tomorrow, please." So we decided to meet at her house the next day. Alone in her living room, I told her everything, including my notebook, liking Naomi and how Nicholas was blackmailing me. "Natasha, please, you have to believe me. I'm sorry I did this to you." I saw the hurt look in her eyes. Then she threw a note at me and ran to her room. The note told me to get out, but before I did, I stood on the other side of her door. "I don't expect you to forgive me, but I couldn't continue our relationship on a lie. Look, I like you, and I don't want to deceive you anymore." After that, I left, and I also texted Nicholas that I didn't care if he told everyone. I'm done being his puppet. The next day, I expected school to be intolerable, but to my surprise, nothing happened. Instead, I saw that Natasha was trying to sort out her locker. A crowd had gathered around her, and Naomi was taunting her. "How does it feel to know that even your boyfriend likes me more? He doesn't like you." Natasha carried on sorting out her books, but I could see that she was fighting back tears. Furious, I pushed past them all and told Naomi to stop. She just jokingly said, "You know, if you wanted to date me, you could have just asked. You didn't have to spend so many months suffering with this giant scarecrow. You're right, I did like you back when I thought you were a nice person. But now I know the true you. You're a coward who only feels good when it's at the expense of someone's misery. And I can see why you target Natasha the most, because she has two things you'll never have, a true kind heart and a loving spirit." After that, I pulled Natasha away and told her how sorry I am. But she didn't even glance at me and just walked off. A few days later, after PE class, I was about to go to the locker room when a classmate, Dante, came up to me. "Marcus, help me carry the PE equipment into the storage room, please. I have a stomachache." He hugged his stomach, then hurriedly ran away. Without thinking much, I packed up the equipment and carried it into the storage room. As soon as I put it down, I realized that Nicholas, Naomi, and some guys from the basketball team were waiting there for me. "Oh, well, Marcus, do you really like that weird Natasha? Didn't see that coming." Then the whole group burst into laughter. "You have no right to say that to her. Take a look at yourself." "Whoa, are you defending her?" Then she turned to Nicholas. "Babe, show him who's the boss here." Then she pulled out her phone and started recording. Nicholas smirked, then grabbed my shirt collar with one hand and reached out his fist to me with the other. I tried to struggle but couldn't get out. He was too strong. Knowing I was doomed, I closed my eyes and awaited his punch, but suddenly a loud shout came out. "Stop!" I opened my eyes to see Natasha and a teacher standing in front of the door. Turns out she overheard Dante bragging to some kid about Nicholas's plan. So she came to my rescue. I looked at her gratefully, but she turned away to avoid my gaze. Meanwhile, Nicholas hastily released my collar and lied to the teacher that we were just chatting. But of course, he didn't believe him and summoned them all to the supervisor's room. After that incident, Nicholas, Naomi, and the rest of the basketball team were suspended from school for 2 weeks. They deserved it. But who cares? I have more important things on my mind, such as winning back Natasha. I knew that her birthday was coming up, and I remembered how she loved glass art. So I bought her a glass art figure of Cinderella's glass slippers with a ticket to senior prom and a card saying, "Thank you and happy birthday. I know what you did doesn't mean you forgive me, but I want to be your real boyfriend. So I left you a ticket for senior prom. If you come and dance with me, then I know you'll give me another chance. If not, then I know that it's over. But remember, you are a special person and deserve the best." The night of prom came, and I was stuck there all alone, feeling like a fool. This sucked, but after what I did, it was what I deserved. I didn't want to stick around here without her. So I was about to leave, but then my classmate tapped my shoulder and gestured for me to turn around. OMG. It was Natasha in the most beautiful crimson red dress. She walked over to me and then reached out her hand to ask me to dance. And of course, I accepted. As the song came to an end, she leaned in and whispered to me, "Thank you, my hero." I can safely say that was the happiest night of my life, as it led to me having the best girlfriend ever. Oh, also her voice is actually really cute, although she does get annoyed with me when I tell her that.
Hi, I'm Addison, but all my friends call me Addie. I'm just an ordinary girl who doesn't have any particular talents, but there is one thing I do have. That is... Oh, why don't we just watch the video to see what it is? This is my older sister, Olivia. She's beautiful, isn't she? She's also an amazing singer and has a talent for art. She can pretty much draw anything. I mean, I don't know how my parents could have such a perfect daughter like her, then have me. But I'm fine with that. Olivia was all about winning trophies and medals, while I was happy with the ice cream and ton of snacks my parents gave me for getting a B on my math exam. Hey, Addie, my baby. Guess who's got some new trendy clothes? Oh, Mom, Dad, I don't like these things. Why are you buying so much? It's such a waste of money. However, Mom's desperate look made me cave, so I reluctantly grabbed a random item and went to try it on. Oh, it's a crop top. I stared at myself in the mirror. Okay, so my parents' dumbfounded expressions made their feelings pretty clear. I looked ridiculous. See, I told you already. I'm way too short to wear tops like this. Right at that moment, Olivia walked by. I immediately ran over to her. I think you should have this top. It'll bring out your nice figure. You'll look so cute in it. Mom shook her head. No. If Olivia wears this, everyone will see her navel. Isn't that the point of crop tops? Then Dad chimed in. Anyway, Liv, where are you off to in such a hurry? It's not that nonsense model club again, is it? Speaking of clubs, is the school dance club still recruiting? You should join. You'll get in for sure. My sister rolled her eyes, then left, slamming the door behind her. I loved my sister, but she just seems to find me annoying. She was like the ice queen, always shutting me out. She never allows me to borrow her clothes or to touch her stuff. And if I ever try to go into her room, she freaks out. It's not that she's mean as such, but she tends to act like I don't even exist. It's okay. I mean, I'm kinda used to it. I live my own life and she lives hers. So that's why when I got my first cell phone and started to use social networks, I didn't try to search for her profiles, though I knew she was on all those platforms. That evening, my mom asked me to go upstairs to call Olivia for dinner. No answer. So I began pushing the door open. She suddenly appeared from the bathroom and yelled, "Hey, what are you doing? You know you're not allowed in my room." I knocked, but you didn't answer. Mom says it's dinner time. She hissed at me and shooed me away. Ugh! Why did she have to treat me like I was some pest? The way she was so weird about her room was annoying. Maybe she was hiding something in there? Nah, probably I was just overthinking this. Olivia was always like this. Life went on, and my sister, well, she continued to distance herself from me. But then one weekend, I walked downstairs to find her cheerfully humming a song as she danced around the kitchen. When she saw me, she smiled and said, "Morning, sis. Come sit here. I made you breakfast." Okay, this was weird. I cautiously sat down and kept looking at her. Why are you so happy? And where are Mom and Dad? Mom and Dad just rushed off on some work thing. Then she put the plate in front of me, grinned, then continued. Mom made cookies this morning and told you to take them to Grandma's. Tell her I said hi. Oh, you're not coming with me? No can do. Sorry, I've got work to do. She continued to look at me, and I got the feeling she wanted me to hurry up. Before I'd even finished my toast, she passed me my jacket and bundled me out of the door. Having no choice, I made my way to Granny's while in deep thoughts about how odd this was. Until I realized that I didn't even have the cookie bag with me. I'd left it at home. Gosh! I immediately rushed back. But, why was there a strange car parked outside my house? I lingered back and watched as a middle-aged man got out of the car. Before he even got to the door, Olivia opened it and smiled at him. I dove behind a bush so I could carry on watching. Huh? Why was he handing her flowers and a gift box? She happily took them from him and even leaned into his ear and said something. Oh my God! So this explains my sister's strange behavior. They're a couple, aren't they? I never thought that my sister would be interested in an old man like this. Shocking. But wait, what if he's deceiving her? As Olivia may look sharp, but she's actually very innocent. If that was the case, I would beat him black and blue. But this was just my speculation. I can't hastily act without knowing the truth. So I decided not to let them know that I was there, and quietly entered the house through the back door to get the cookie bag. Later that day when I arrived home, my sister was back to her Ice Queen self. She was cooking in silence, so I told her Grandma said hi, and she just grunted, then carried on stirring her soup. I needed to find out what was actually going on. The perfect opportunity arose a few weeks later, when Mom and Dad went away on a weekend trip. I told Olivia I was meeting some friends for a picnic, but this was a lie. I actually hid in my faithful hiding spot and watched. As expected, the old man showed up and Olivia let him inside. The door was ajar, so I tiptoed inside and heard them laughing in the living room. I peeked in, and to my astonishment, my sister was sitting on the couch wearing the weirdest outfit ever. It was those kinds of clothes that only catwalk models wear, and most of all, she had this heavy makeup on and looked like a totally different person. The strange man was sitting next to her. Both of them were looking at her phone and laughing happily. Oh gosh, now everything was clear. From her reserved nature to her seemed-to-be secret room, it was all so she could continue to hide this age difference love story. I didn't know how to react now. I just kind of felt bad for her because she had to hide it. I mean, this was her home, and we were her family. We might not have been close, but she was my big sister, and I wanted her to be happy. If this love was real, then I fully supported her. And if this guy turned out to be bad, well, then I'd protect her to the end. My parents returned that evening, so I set up a family movie night. A great idea for family bonding, right? I chose a romantic movie in which the main actress is much younger than her boyfriend. In the middle of the movie, I turned to my parents and asked, "Mom, Dad, if you were their parents, would you allow that relationship?" They gave me confused looks. Then Dad immediately asked, "Hey, Addie, Don't tell us that you're in love with an old man, huh?
This startled me, but before I could say anything, the doorbell rang. I was about to go open the door, just to avoid answering Dad's question, but Olivia was faster. Not long after that, she turned back and shouted at me.
Addie, how dare you touch my phone? What's up, Liv? Who's at the door? Go ask your dear daughter Addison.
She gave me a dirty look, then stormed up to her room. My parents immediately bombarded me with loads of questions.
What's happening here? Who was the one ringing the bell? Why that manner of Olivia?
Okay, the one who rang the bell was Olivia's boyfriend. So, earlier, when Olivia left her phone in the kitchen, I noticed that there was a message from a man named Henry Davis. I immediately searched for him on Facebook and found out that this was the same guy who'd been visiting her. So, I used her phone to text him, telling him to come around at 8 p.m. I thought it would be better if Olivia could make her relationship public with our parents. But, Hayes, it seems she didn't take it very well. Anyway, now I had no choice but to tell my parents everything. Their faces dropped, and without saying anything, they ran upstairs and banged on Olivia's door. But there was no reply. Instead, all of us heard a rattling sound from the back door, and Olivia had fled. Our parents' faces turned red, while I felt so guilty as I not only wasn't able to help her, but only worsened the situation. The next day, Olivia still hadn't returned. She also didn't show up for school, which caused my parents to freak out. Then I suddenly thought of Henry. Right. Why didn't I think of asking him from the beginning? So I immediately contacted Henry and asked him to help find Olivia. That afternoon, when I just got home from school, I saw Henry driving off. There was a note stuck to the door saying Olivia was fine, with an address below, and it also said if we come there at 9 a.m., we'll see Olivia. The next morning, we showed up earlier than scheduled. Huh? It was a studio, and just like Henry said, Olivia was there. She looked so glamorous and was so busy prepping for a photo shoot that she didn't seem to notice us. Henry welcomed us and started explaining everything that made my parents, as well as me, speechless. Turns out, the truth was far from what I thought. He was not her boyfriend. Instead, he's her manager. He saw Olivia's potential and guided her to become a photo model and a TikToker. The flowers and gifts were from the brand she was working with. And the other day, she wore that outfit and makeup for a TikTok video. After the shoot was over, we walked over to her. But she took one look at us and ran away. I managed to catch up with her, then said, "Sis, why didn't you just tell us the truth? We're your family. We'll always be on your side."
On my side? Really? You have no idea what it's like to be an outsider. It doesn't matter how many competitions I win. I'm invisible, while you get praised for just getting an okay grade on a math test. I want to be a model, but they don't want that for me. They want me to be miserable. I'd rather leave that house to do what I love.
I was dumbfounded, and so were Mom and Dad, who by this point had caught up with us and heard everything she'd just said. Dad hugged Olivia, then in an emotional voice said,
"Olivia, it's not that we forbid you from doing what you want. We were just worried for you. We just know that this industry can be complicated, and we don't want you to get hurt." That's right. And it's not true that we love Addie more than you. You just excel at everything, and we just didn't want Addie to feel insecure. We're really sorry, Olivia. We all love you.
"Oh no, Mom, don't worry. I never felt that way. Actually, I've always admired Olivia, and it made me sad when she ignored me." Olivia burst out crying, and our whole family hugged each other tightly.
Sorry to interrupt, but you must have had some idea about Olivia being an internet star already, right? I mean, it's easy to tell from her social networks.
I shyly said, I don't follow any of her accounts. I thought she just wanted me out of her way." Henry then patted my head and showed us Olivia's social media accounts. And wow, she had millions of views and followers. We all watched some of her TikTok videos together, and she totally rocked it. Seeing how much this meant to her, my parents came round to the idea of her being a model, and they even thanked Henry for helping her. Then Olivia came closer to me. "Hey, Addie. I'm sorry for being so cold in the past. Turns out, you love me so much and will support me regardless. At least now if I really fall in love with an old man, I don't have to worry, right?" Then everyone laughed. Oh, even though my plan didn't, well, go exactly as intended, I still call it a success, because it all ended out great in the end. You thought it was all finished, huh? Nope, not yet. There's one more thing I want to show you guys. That night, for the first time, Olivia let me go inside her room. Wow, it was like a mini studio with expensive flashlights, a ring light, and a camera. And her clothes and makeup collection were super impressive. Oh, do you remember what I said at the beginning of the video about being an ordinary girl? Well, that hasn't changed. But now I can confidently say that there is one thing I do have, and that's an awesome big sister who loves me unconditionally.